Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for KIMT News 3 live here in St. Paul. I'm Cami Raisler. The Minnesota legislative session is now underway, and boy, was it off to an interesting start earlier today. DFL House members boycotting the session earlier today, half of the chamber sitting empty. So let's get into it. Let me tell you a little bit more about what happened today. Just after noon today, Secretary of State Steve Simon declared a quorum was not present and adjourned the first day of the session. Now, a quorum is basically the number of people needed to continue legislative business. Despite Simon gaveling and adjourning, House Republicans went on business as usual. They voted on Speaker of the House and elected Representative Lisa Demuth anyway. This whole process was likely to be laid out in the Supreme Court. It will likely be laid out in the Supreme Court to see if it was legal. Now, it was unclear if House Democrats and Republicans were going to find some common ground and have some sort of shared power agreement this morning, but as we saw by the boycott, that did not happen. So let's refresh. Why is this happening? As it stands right now in the House, DFLers have a one-seat disadvantage as a special election is set on January 28th for District 40B. That is scheduled for January 28th. DFL Representative-elect Curtis Johnson was ruled ineligible to serve by a judge because it was determined he did not live in the Roseville district. With what happened today, some are wondering if this was indeed legal for House Republicans to continue and select the House Speaker. As expected, Republicans who we spoke with from Southeast Minnesota say absolutely. What were your thoughts when you showed up and there were a bunch of open seats?
Well, frankly, I was hoping that they would show. Having served during two trifectas and being in the minority, that doesn't mean that you don't go do the job and work for helping Minnesota.
Do you think the Speaker of the House ruling will hold?
Yeah, it is. What we did was lawful, and we are following the law. And the quorum issue is very clear in statute.
And also new here tonight, House DFLers obviously do not agree with Republicans on this matter. We did speak with some Southeast Minnesota DFLers earlier today. They were actually in Rochester instead of in St. Paul. Here's what they had to say.
It is a very sad day for Minnesota. And as legislators, we are really feeling very sad today because of that we had to not go for the first day of session in order to avoid letting the Republicans have a quorum and then steal power from Minnesota voters.